All right, we're going to do the blows from the rear as that unit of Kearns turns around, and then we'll handle the remaining movement. I don't think he gets any more movement. No, he would not get any more movement. And then we'll handle missile fire phase over here. Since these are distinct and discrete things, we'll just keep the action limited. So random factors, low dice is going to be black again. These are regular troops, so we're not making any changes to either of those dice because we didn't get a 1 or a 6. This is going to be a -2 circumstance. So positive dice is 2, -2. So -2, we're in the hole. Weapon factors, so we're talking about cavalry and melee. So we're talking about medium horse versus light foot. So it's going to be factors of 5. So that's going to go down to 3. Tactical factors, attacking flank or rear. Rear, no, this is still in the front. These are unshielded troops. It's going to be +1. +1 for unshielded troops. Attacking heavy horse, nope. Cavalry and melee. Potholes, nope. None of that stuff applies. General consideration. No disorder or distraction yet. Height advantage doesn't apply. Pursuing, retreat. Yes, this was pursuing, so we got a +1 there. So we got 2 more pluses. So actually, this takes us up to up in units. Charging, countercharging, receives an impetus bonus. I think those guys were effectively charging. So it's actually going to go up to 6 for the factors. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in contact. 4 figures in contact. So we're going to go 6 and 4 in contact. That's going to be 13 casualties. Rolling a d20. Got a 12, so I am going to remove a figure from the Irish Kearns and remove our marker for melee. So these guys now have turned about. Oh, they were attacked in the rear as well. Doesn't matter. They lost a figure. And now they're routed. Let me handle their movement for that. So routing unit is disordered. They run a ride with backs to the enemy. We did that to their own baseline until they meet 1 of 4 conditions to rally. This is not an impassable obstacle. They do not use the normal rules for interpenetration. They detour, provided there's a gap within 5 inches of their front edge. Yes, the gap cannot be reached. Routing troops burst through, disordering them. So the gap can be reached here. And they're not encountering an enemy unit. Routing unit that reaches this baseline is removed from play and might return. So check the routing movement rate. Broken troops will run a ride. Charge movement -2. So for light footmen, their regular movement is 8, their charge movement is 10, but their charge movement -2 then would be 8 inches. If we come over here and measure this, there is a gap of at least 3 figures wide around not only the leader, but around this unit, because the hill is not an impassable obstacle. So the question is right or left. I guess odd is left, even is right. We got an odd result, so we're going to go left past the woods. And they've got 8 inches of movement. This is a detour. That's going to subtract 5 off of it. And then they'll go 3 more. So first it's going to take them about 1.5 inches to get to here. Then they've got a 5-inch detour. And then they'll go 1.5 inches further. So probably... Now the question is on the... And we'll just keep the formation tight here. The question is going to be, do these horse that we're pursuing, do they have any more movement? And it's been so long, I really don't know. So I'm going to just move right on to the missile phase here. So random factor for those French crossbowmen. I think both of those are regular, so it's going to be 5 positive -3 negative is going to be a +2. That's a positive result for missile, which means it's going to be a factor of 3. Then we come down to the table and we see the crossbowmen. And I think I call these guys heavy crossbowmen. So heavy crossbowmen versus medium horse is going to be 4. So 4 plus 3 is going to be 7. And a tactical factor for missile has moved, yeah. So -1. So unshielded troops, that evens it out. So the 2 even out. The fact that the horsemen are moving and they're unshielded kind of evens out here. So 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay. Sorry guys, I get confused a little bit. 7. And we've got 5 figures firing because they're not firing indirectly. They only get the front rank firing. So factors 7, figures 5 is 20 exactly. That means remove 1 additional figure. So now in this mess, we're dealing with the fact that these guys, this heavy horse for the Yorkists has broken, and we'll turn about now. Same thing, they're receiving blows from heavy horse to their rear as they turn about. They're disordered, yada yada. And that heavy horseman, I don't think he got an impetus bonus, just there was insufficient room to charge here. So let's see how the factors work out. So random factor, high dice and low dice. The high dice is 6, low dice is 2. These are both regular, so this actually gets downgraded to a 4. So 4 minus 2 is going to be 2 for the factors. And we're talking about cavalry and melee versus heavy horse with metal barding. So 2. So 2 plus 2 now is 4. Melee, attack in the rear. So that'll bump us up into 5. Oh, heavy horse in the flank. Or rear. It bumps us up to 6, not 5. So 6. And then the number of blocks in contact is 5. Factors of 6. Blocks of 5. That's going to be 16 casualties. Focus, 16 casualties. So I'm going to roll a d20. If I get 16 or less, I'm going to remove a figure. I got a 20. So no figure is getting removed here. Yeah, so that's them turning about, and now I got to figure out what happens. Can they fit through that gap? Yada, yada. So these are heavy horsemen with metal barding. They have a charge rate of 16. Minus 2 is going to be 14. Let's see what happens. This is one of the rules changes, was instead of going straight back along their path, they're going run or ride with backs towards the enemy directly toward their own baseline. So that does make a difference. So they're going to have to expend probably about an inch of that movement, of that 14 movement. Now we're down to 13. Probably, we're just going to call it 12 inches. And then they're going to get about 6 inches, and then they're going to run into an enemy unit. I should put down some kind of dice to mark how many inches that was. So it was like 2 to turn and then 3 to go. So I'm going to say, I think I said 6 inches. So we're just going to put a 6 down here to remember that we've done 6 of our 14. Boom. This is an enemy unit. Now, let's read what it says about that. So routing troops that encounter an enemy unit vary in their response between charge and detour. So the differences between charge and detour, right? Cavalry may charge lighter enemy cavalry and light footmen to break through. Well, that's not the case here. It's heavy versus heavy. Light or medium cavalry, nope, not that rule. Heavy cavalry may charge heavier footmen, not that rule. Footmen treat cavalry as impassable. Heavier footmen, no. So in this case, they can't charge. In this case, it's actually going to be a detour. So we go back to the detour rules here. Is there a gap of at least 3 figures wide for them to get through? Yes. That means they're going to shift here to the left and just treat that as 5 more inches. So they've got 6 inches already. Then the detour is going to be, to get past this unit, is going to be a detour of 5. That puts them in this gap. So let's detour them 5. So that takes us to 11 inches of movement here to just put them in the gap. And they're still doing a detour here, but I think we're going to have to do the width of this. So let's put them another 1.5 inches. So that's going to be 11. That's going to put them 12.5. Then they've got to rotate back toward their baseline. 13, and then maybe another inch here. But that's pretty much where they ended up, is down here near the stakes. They've still got a gap. They can get around. We'll see what happens next turn.